All right, heroes, we are just about to get started with Fun Friday here on the Jew Curious Show. Today, it is a very special high holidays or high holy days. You do you. High holy days AMA. Ask me anything with your friendly neighborhood rabbi, Rabbi John Carrier. And you can ask me while we're playing Super Mario Odyssey. So stay tuned. Just connecting some pipes here in the background, finishing my breakfast, grabbing some of my Move juice. That's coffee for you and me. And in just a second, we are going to get started with our Fun Friday. Ask me anything, especially if you have questions about the high holy days. I see some people already joining the chat, and we'll get started in just a bit. And as soon as I get my Move juice going, I'll show you my face. Too tired for that right now. And then we'll get into playing some Super Mario Odyssey. So stay tuned, and thank you for joining us for Fun Friday. Be right with you. All right, we are getting all the pieces into place. It's only right that I show you my face. Welcome, everybody, to the Jew Curious Show. This is Fun Friday. I'm wearing sunglasses, so you know we're about to have fun. Nobody ever did anything sad in sunglasses, except go to funerals. And they're not fun glasses. They're just sunglasses. So, got a little Move juice right here. So glad to see many of the people from this community here. We've got Kay Dixie is waking up in California. D. Wellexon says Boker Tov to Kay Dixie and Boker Tov L'Kulam from our good friend D. Wellexon. Let's see, we've got Nawa64 first in the chat and says, gotta say thanks for hooking us up with Yoda Seagulls. The fam has been laughing about that for weeks, and that's why I've got the t-shirt on. I guess it's like my official Friday t-shirt. I don't usually plan things that way, but it worked out. So it's Susan Bird says, hi everyone. So glad to be with you today for this fun Friday. We're going to have a little fun playing Super Mario Odyssey, but as per usual, I will only do it in the context of answering your questions. This is, after all, the Jew Curious Show. This is a place where anyone from anywhere can come in and ask questions about Judaism, about Jewish people, about Jewish traditions, so that you can unlock all of these things that have helped me live a life of greater meaning, greater joy, greater human connection, and greater personal growth. And I really believe these things can help anyone, anywhere. All you got to do is get curious. And so that's why I put this show on. If you are curious about Judaism, you are in the right place. Whether you are Jewish, not Jewish, thinking about it, you know, maybe you're taking an Intro to Judaism class, and you're on the conversion track. Maybe you're taking a comparative religions class and you just want to know more about Judaism or get a leg up in that class. And you know, I haven't really pitched to the academic market before, but here goes. Maybe you're a committed Christian, let's say, but you're terribly curious about the Jewish roots of your own faith. If any of these apply to you, as long as you're curious, you belong here. So really glad to have everybody. We got our nice friends from the community saying hi to each other, and this is you'll find out if you get into the chat. Now, if you want to lurk, that's cool, but if you want to get into the chat, you will find that this is the nicest, kindest, most loving group of people you will ever hang out with online. And I know, you know, hanging out with people online sometimes sometimes there's a really low bar for people loving on each other, and sometimes it's kind of a coarse place out in the internet world. Not here. Everybody here is cool. If you're not cool, you are not here. So let's just get into this right now. I'm going to go ahead and play some Mario. You can ask me anything you want today, but I'm especially encouraging people to ask me about the High Holy Days, because these are coming up. I hope you're not surprised by this if you're into the High Holy Days, that Erev Rosh Hashanah is in 3 weeks and 2 days. But who's counting? It's happening Sunday night. I believe it's September the 29th, which is whatever is 3 weeks from this coming Sunday. That's when Rosh Hashanah starts. We've been doing a whole course about the High Holy Days in the Jew Curious School. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that later. If you really want to get into learning about the High Holy Days, one quick suggestion before I meet my friend Rabbi Mario off on his Odyssey is you should check out the Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge. This is a little challenge that I put together. It is what I made, you know, last year I made 31 videos about the Jewish fall holidays. That's Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, which includes Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah, and the month of Elul leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and all the things in between. You know, you'll learn about shofars, you'll learn about my tips and tricks for fasting on Yom Kippur and how to make that not just a more comfortable experience for you, but a more holy experience for you. So I've got 31 videos out there, and if you sign up for this challenge, and you can do that by, if you're watching us on Twitch, there's a little link right below this video. If you're not watching us on Twitch, watch us on Twitch. It's free. You can go over to twitch.tv/JewCurious. Right below the video, there is a little paragraph, and there's like a little bar that says the Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge or something like that. Click on that bar, and it'll take you to a way to sign up for this challenge. Once you do, you will get in your email box, auto-magically, you don't have to do any extra work, a link to that day's video for the next 31 days. And for a real short period of time here, just a few more days, if you sign up for the challenge before, let's say, next Monday, on Monday we're going to have, let's say, an opportunity drawing. And what that means is I'm going to pick some names at random from the people who signed up for this Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge, and I'm giving away 3 sets of what I call a starter Jewish library. And these are, I believe, 6 books that I picked out that when people ask me, hey, I'm just starting to learn about Judaism, what books should I pick up? So I picked 6 of my favorite books, and you can find out more about that when you sign up for the challenge. I picked 6 of my favorite books, and I'm going to send 3 sets to people who signed up for this challenge, but you have to do it before Monday, because I'm going to be announcing the winners of this challenge or rather the giveaway associated with the challenge. The challenge is watching the videos and learning something. The kicker is for people who sign up for the challenge before Monday, September the 9th. On Monday morning, I'm going to do a drawing, and you're going to see who wins. There are going to be 3 people who win a Jewish starter library. So check that out. And without further ado, maybe a little bit of ado while I, what is ado anyway? Got to switch over to game mode. What on earth? Okay, hold on a second. Get into the editor. Silly Mario. What are you doing there? Silly guy. Alright, sometimes I have, that's the thing about doing these things live. Sometimes things screw up. And that'll just go into next season's blooper reel, I guess. Let's see, how do I fix this? Video capture device. Maybe oh, there we go. I think I see the trouble right now. Bigger Mario. And alright, this is gonna work any minute now, friends. Smaller Mario, move the Mario. I've got a song about how I'm screwing up with the Mario, Super Mario. Let's see if I can fit that to page. I'm learning how to use the internet. You know, this stuff's harder than it looks. They don't teach this in rabbinical school, I'll tell you that. If they did, I don't know if people would study that. People are just so excited about the Talmud. I know I was. With Mario, Super Mario, he's too big for the screen. I like to make up songs just to distract people from the fact that I'm not good at the computer technology. There we go, Super Mario. Just a little more scoonch. Just a little scoonchity scoonch. One more little jigger of the scoonch, and away we go. I'm not going to show you my resume. I've already got this job. All right. We are in the path of the secret flower field. So glad to see everybody. Make sure if you ask me a question, first of all, you should be on Twitch if you can be. Twitch.tv/JewCurious. And I'm taking, that's the live stream that I'm watching right now, so I can answer questions live while Mario is in his sombrero. And I don't know what he's so upset about. He's just kind of shivering. Maybe he's cold because he's only wearing a poncho. And if you want to know why he's wearing a poncho, watch the Fun Friday from like 2 weeks ago. So if you're going to ask a question, first of all, be on Twitch, because Twitch is the best. It's the best live streaming platform that I've found in terms of quality for the equipment that I have. And that's the chat that I'm watching. If you have a question, make sure you put a question mark in there somewhere. Helps me see the questions, and sometimes I miss them, and I've got some good friends here who remind me that there's a question in the chat, so I go right back to it. If you're on Facebook, because we're simulcasting to Facebook and YouTube, if you're on Facebook or YouTube and you ask me a question in the chat there, I will come back at the end of this broadcast to answer those questions. So I want to make sure everybody's questions get answered in a timely way, but I can only watch one chat at a time. So if you ask me on YouTube or on Facebook, I'll come back at the end and watch and answer those then. But I'll do my best to answer things live. Let's see what's going on here. Another unidentified thing flew by, or perhaps the same thing. It is unclear. What a helpful robot. Question: why do we say Kaddish multiple times during a single service? Very good question. And so, and it's all, let's see, it's kind of complicated. Kaddish is a prayer about lifting up God's name. Right? That's what the Kaddish is about. It's saying God's name is incredible. God, God's great to us. We're going to lift up God's name because that's a good thing to do. And we have this prayer called the Kaddish or the Kaddish, and we use it multiple times during the service, and it's sort of like a punctuation mark in the service, or it's a little bookend. And usually when we say Kaddish, it's sort of at the end of one part of the service and the beginning of another part. It sort of distinguishes between the various parts of the service, like Birchot HaShachar, those initial blessings. Let's say, for example, on a Shabbat morning, on a Saturday morning, you're in Shul, you hear Yit Gadol v'Yit Kadash over and over again throughout the service. We say it at the end of Birchot HaShachar before Pezukei Zimra, and that's after the morning blessings, before kind of the passages of the song that we warm up with before we get into the main body of the prayer service. And then you might hear it again, Chatzi Kaddish before the Baruch Hu. You'll hear it separating the passages of song from the core of morning prayers, which is the Shema and the blessings surrounding it. And then actually the morning you go straight from those blessings into the Amidah, and then after the Amidah you hear Kaddish again. And during the Torah service, between the 7 readings and the Maftir, the 8th reading, you'll hear the Kaddish again. And then you'll hear Kaddish again, or Chatzi Kaddish, half Kaddish, between the Torah service and the Musaf service. And then you'll hear it again between the Musaf service, that sort of additional prayer service on Shabbat and holidays, between that and the kind of closing blessings, Ein Keloheinu, Aleinu, etc., because it's kind of a bookend for various parts of the service. And there are multiple editions of this prayer. If you're sort of at the end of the Amidah, you will have what's called the Kaddish Shalem, or the full Kaddish. And if you are between, in some other sections, there's sort of that's like a hard stop. And if you're between other sections, you might hear what's called a Hatzi Kaddish, or half Kaddish. And that's a little shorter version. And then at the very end of the service, pretty much right before announcements and whatever song you're closing with, often a Don Olam, you'll hear what's called the Kaddish Yatom, or the Mourner's Kaddish. Kaddish Yatom actually means the Orphan's Kaddish. But most people are familiar with the Mourner's Kaddish as a traditional prayer that we say on behalf of a loved one who has passed away. What it was interesting for me to learn many years ago is that the Kaddish has nothing to do with death. Death is not mentioned anywhere in the Kaddish. The souls of the departed are not mentioned anywhere in the Kaddish. It's just that we say that prayer, which is about God and lifting up God's name, in order to honor the dead. Often if somebody's passed away recently or on the anniversary of their death. And so the Mourner's Kaddish, which most people are familiar with, is just one of several instances of that prayer that are said throughout the service as a kind of, let's say, punctuation mark between discrete parts of the service. And that's why you'll hear it over and over again. I hope that's helpful for you. It's Susan Bird. Michael Pacheco is always coming in with good questions here. Susan, every question is good. Just about. Some questions, people are just being snarky. But let's see. What do we got here? It's Michael Pacheco, 92, says, how much of kashrut do you expect a convert to practice before they go to the Beit Din? So that will sort of vary by Beit Din. My just word of mouth. I've never, been an Orthodox convert myself. I was very comfortable converting with the conservative movement. I've heard that, you might have people coming in inspecting your kitchen to make sure it is perfectly according to the standards of that movement before you're allowed to convert. Some conservative Beit Dins, will insist that you're keeping the kashrut according to the standards of that community, etc. Sometimes Batei Din are just like, have you tried? What have you? Tell me about what you've tried in kashrut and how's that working out for you? Because look, nobody's perfect, and whatever standard of kashrut a given person practices, there will be people, from Yidden, there will be Jewish people who practice maybe a less restrictive version of that, and there will be Jewish people who practice a more restrictive version of that. And so my suggestion to people is at least try to keep kosher by the standards of the community that you belong to, or the standards that you learned from your Introduction to Judaism class. Try it out. If you're not perfect, are the rabbis going to say, Matt, come back when you're perfect? Most likely no. But the Batei Din that I sit on, we like to see that people have, let's say, engaged with kashrut have tried, let's say, cutting pork out of their diet, cutting shellfish out of their diet, can report back, their reflections on that experience. And just we like to see that people are on the path. And so again, this varies by Beit Din. And so before you go to the Beit Din, you should really get a sponsoring rabbi, and the sponsoring rabbi who is familiar with the Beit Din that you're going to, will tell you specifically what that Beit Din might ask of you. So it's not uniform. If there's anybody out there who tells you that it's uniform, they are misinformed. If there's anybody who tells you that, what other Batei Din do is bogus, they're misinformed about the legitimate Jews in that community. So that's a comp. I wish I could give you a simple answer to that. So I suggest that everybody try to keep kosher as best you can before you get to the Beit Din, just to be able to share that experience, because they will ask, about, what have you learned about the Jewish dietary laws and what are you following, and what's that done for you? It's not just about, are you following the rules? Check. It's how has that changed you? How has that changed your outlook on eating? How does that change your outlook on blessing? How does that change your outlook on, making spiritual decisions about the most mundane activity of our life? So, great question, Michael Pacheco, as always. We're right. Hello, he says hello, everyone. Good to see you here. Man, so many great questions. I'm not going to be able to play some Mario, but here we go. So, Rabbi, we are planning to kosher our kitchen. Can we use a steamer on the counter instead of boiling water? Does it need to be inspected? So, I've recommended this before, based on an Orthodox teacher that I had who was specifically talking about koshering for Pesach, but this applies here too. If you're koshering your house and you want to remove any unkosher matter from your countertops and things like that, first off, folks, don't eat off your countertops. They're not dishes. And so we assume that everything has to be dipped in boiling water. I'll say for things that are easy to put into boiling water, like knives and forks and stuff like that, dip them in boiling water. But as far as pouring boiling water or running over everything with a blowtorch, that's a little bit excessive, according to some opinions. For anything that you would kosher or render kosher, render fit with boiling water, my teacher of halacha, I'm trying to remember, Rabbi Yehuda Hausman says that if you just run over something with a clothing steamer, the jets of steam coming out of a clothing steamer are actually hotter than boiling water, and you don't have the safety hazard of having everything covered with puddles of boiling water that you can slip and fall in and drop the pot on you. Chas v'shalom. So very much I recommend anything that requires sort of pouring boiling water on, I would say use the clothing steamer instead. It's just for safety reasons, right? It would, the law is given to you to live by and not to die by. So let's jump into it. Good to see Naya Shashi is here, and Urite is here, and so many great people are here. Baruch Hashem, thank you so much. Easier, I think so too. So let's see what this guy is all about. Okay, the monster's minions must not discover the secret flower field. The entrance just ahead, but we dare not attempt it. We need assistance. All right, let's go be helpful. I'm making myself dizzy. Okay, tanks, but no tanks. So check out that tank. I think I've been up here before. Maybe instead of going through this nonsense. How do I get out of this guy? There we go. Maybe instead of going through... Whoa! Okay, let's see, how's this working out for me? Didn't find myself down here before. Is this safe? I don't know, let's find out. Whee! Oh, hey, there's a parrot. Sometimes he's helpful about finding power moons. Venus Black 8 says, hey! Let's see, do we have to have our kitchen inspected or inspected and approved by a rabbi? No. Every once in a while, I get to give a simple answer. No, you do not. I mean, here's what I'll say. If you want to know whether your kitchen is if you have questions, if you want to know if your kitchen is as kosher as you want it to be, right? If you want to know if your kitchen is as kosher as, say, what the halacha says or what other people are doing in the kitchen, I think a rabbi can be helpful for that process. Because then the rabbi will come over and say, wow, that's really kosher, or wow, you're really close, but you need to do this, and that'll help you. And sometimes when we're learning about kashrut, we make things more complicated than they need to be. As one of my teachers of kashrut and halacha said, Jewish, the more you get to know Jewish law, the easier it becomes. Or rather, the more you know what's the actual laws around kashrut, rather than what you heard from somebody who's being strict because they don't know the law, it becomes easier and easier to keep kosher. And so I think so I'll say, if you are working your way into kashrut, you don't need to have a rabbi come over and say, this is kosher, this is not kosher, for you to be doing that. It might be a helpful way to engage with a rabbi and engage in conversations about kashrut to learn more. So I'm going to say it's not necessary. A big myth around kashrut is that something becomes kosher because a rabbi blesses it. And if you think that, you're sort of confusing us with the Catholics, because there's things that for them to attain a certain sacramental quality, a priest has to intervene and say some blessings or apply some intention for things to shift from one state of holiness to another. That's not how Judaism works. We can tell, where a rabbi might come in, and it doesn't even have to be a rabbi necessarily, but somebody who's learned in the laws of kashrut can inspect things and tell you whether they are processed or cooked or what have you according to the Jewish dietary laws. But in that way, they're more like a food inspector or like a health inspector. They're like they look at the factory, they say, okay, is any meat bumping into milk, or is there any pig meat in here anywhere? And if they see that everything's kind of according to the laws, they put their stamp of approval on it. They say this place is kosher. But that's because they're learned in the laws. They observe what's going on, and they can tell you whether it's going according to the law or not. There's no magic involved. And so you can have a kosher kitchen without the intervention of a rabbi whatsoever. Nevertheless, it might be fun to have a rabbi over. Rabbis like coming over to people's houses, especially if there's food involved. And so you can, if you have a rabbi over to look at you and answer what questions you have. And if you can't figure something out, they can help you figure it out. If you're having a really hard time rendering something kosher, maybe they can make it easier for you. So it could be, I'll say it's a nice thing to have, but not a necessary thing to have in order to keep kosher. Let's see. Just going to see. I think I saw another question here. Do we have to have our kitchen inspected and approved by a rabbi? No, I hope that answers. Too bad. Hoping you could come to Colorado. So I'm happy to come to anybody's kitchen. Let's say within a convenient drive of Los Angeles County. That's all I'll commit to at this time. But thank you for the invitation. That's lovely. I do like Colorado. We honeymooned in Colorado and had a fabulous time. All right, so Takatu has given me some hints. Beneath the roots of the moving tree. So if I can find a moving tree, then beneath the roots, there will be a power move. All right, so what am I trying to do right now? Oh, look at that. Ground pound jump. When you want to get up high, and a regular jump won't quite do it. It seems like half the tips are about jumping higher than you can. The so-called jump right after a ground pound. Okay, let me see if I can do that. Whoop. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. This is repetitive and redundant. Oop, nope, I hit the wrong button. Okay. Yep. Woo! Okay, that kind of sort of worked. Oh, let's see. If I go down here, I can go in that little pipety pipe. Might be something exciting happening in there. Let's see. I'm going to turn off the pretzel rock since it seems like we're listening to Mario music at this point. Oh, beepy-doo. I'd like to breathe. Yip-a-doop-a-doo. I'd like to get on to those guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, that's not safe. Alright, I should get my headphones. Where are my headphones up here? Let's see. Seagulls, look out. Pause my game. Put on my ear goggles. And I'm ready to go. Because this is the Odyssey of Mario. Plug that in. Let's see if I can find that. Slot. This is good radio. Fun with technology. D. Alexan says, Shabbat Shalom, Mrs. Bob Ross. Mrs. Bob Ross is in the house. Shabbat Shalom to all. Very good to have you here. Let's see, keep one ear open for what's going on in the world. We're going to continue. All right, now I can hear the music. I'm going to get out of here. This is bogus. This is not like a fun level. While I turn off pretzel rocks. Apparently I can hold my breath infinitely right now. That's kind of cool. Go back here. Alright. We'll go in there and see what kind of damage we can do. Gold coins might come in handy later. Dang it, those guys are so spiky. This is not a fun place at all. Alright, I'm going to come back to that later when I am better at this game. Let's see, Stockton is only 6 hours. So like I say, I'm going to stick to LA County for right now. K. Dixie says, the question, the Yom Kippur service is longer than most, so I wouldn't be able to attend all of it. Is it better to not attend at all than to leave early or arrive late? Excellent question. Thank you for asking, K. Dixie. It's better to go for, I would say, seconds than to not go at all, right? And it's, you know, there's not a scorecard on this. I mean, the idea of Yom Kippur is to reflect, to a certain extent, afflict yourself. You know, I'm not going to say if you're not there in the very beginning all the way to the end, then it doesn't count. And you won't be, you know, if you come in a little bit late, leave a little bit early, you will be in good company. Right, there will be people who come late. There will be people who leave early. Right, the idea is that it's a kind of a personal day of affliction and reflection. It's good to do that in community, but people have different, let's say, levels of stamina that they can endure for, or timing, or other responsibilities they have in their lives. So I would say it's better to go for a little bit than to avoid going because you're worried you're going to upset somebody or upset God because you're late for services or have to leave early. I mean, God forbid somebody's fasting and they pass out. It's not like, oh, they passed out from fasting. It doesn't count for them. So I'll say, you know, if you think you're going to pass out, let somebody know. Like, being alive always supersedes fasting on Yom Kippur. So I'm glad you asked that because I didn't want anybody having kind of like a false impression of what was okay to do on Yom Kippur. Let's see. All right, I got some nuts. There's apparently currency in Flower World. Doo-doo-doo. Now I can hear the music. There's a tank over there. There's that guy. Let's see. I'm going to check the map because there might be ways to avoid this stuff. So I'm right there. There's that. Alright, these guys are kind of helpful sometimes. Doo-doo-doo. Whew. Woohoo, we got a power moon. Let's see. Michael Pacheco 92 says, help! This is an emergency Jewish question. I just realized, let's see, help, I just realized tonight's service is a potluck and I have no idea what to bring. Drinks. You know, always bring, you know, if you don't know what to bring and you're worried, especially if you're worried about kosher and things like that, people never bring drinks. Bring like soda pop. If you want to get like hechshered soda pop, you know, Coke products are usually kosher. So I bring drinks, I say, or bring lemonade or fruit juice or something like that. It's a very easy thing to do. Bring fruit. You know, you can find veggie trays at the supermarket. Fruits and vegetables are always a nice thing to have. There will be people bringing pasta dishes. There will be people bringing salads, right? I've been to so many potlucks at a synagogue where it's like 8 salads and like a bag of cookies. So if you bring fruits and vegetables, parents will appreciate it because there's more than cookies there. Other people will bring pasta dishes. The easiest thing in the world to do, soda pop and Pringles. Pringles, you have to kind of check, but most Pringles are OU certified kosher and many of them are parv. Barbecue Pringles are parv. That's like if I'm gonna be teaching a class and there should be refreshments, but nobody's bringing refreshments, my go-to is I just get a bunch of Pringles because Pringles are usually. And when I did this for one Intro to Judaism class, I brought Pringles the first day, and then there was a sign up for other people to bring food subsequent days, but people always brought Pringles because they thought that Pringles was like a Jewish food all of a sudden. And then somebody who was in that class catered her son's bar mitzvah, and at the tables, the centerpieces were multiple cans of Pringles. So now Pringles is a Jewish thing because they're kosher, I guess. Let's see what else is going on here. So Michael Pacheco, I'll say Pringles, soft drinks, bottled water, never a bad idea. Always good to have some of that stuff around. Let's see. Weather Freak 513 says, just began studying with a Reform rabbi and couldn't be happier. Taking my kids there to their first Shabbat service this evening. Awesome. We're deconverting Christians. I guess that's a thing. And I'm nervous and excited. What are some things to keep in mind for the first time, especially being close to the high holidays? How can we newcomers be prepared to integrate the best possible? First off, if you're a newcomer around the high holidays, synagogues love to have you there because they really, you know, synagogues really promote their high holiday services towards new members and towards people who are new to their community. So people will be delighted to see you. I would just say everybody's nervous their first time going to a synagogue, especially if they don't have a friend there already. Just go being open to the experience. And you probably will find really nice people. Every once in a while you meet some people who are like uncomfortable around newcomers, but that's not a Jewish thing, that's a human thing. So just be open to the experience. Feel free to ask questions. Sometimes it's nice to kind of, if you don't know the community at all, sometimes it's nice to call ahead and say, hey, we're new, we're coming to our service for the first time. What should we expect? Some synagogues in different parts of the world and even in parts of America have these kind of, let's say, security postures where they like to know the people who are coming in. So you might want to call the synagogue ahead and say, hey, is there anything I should do before I come, just so you know I'm a friendly. And maybe if they know you're coming, the rabbi or the person leading the services will be informed, and they'll reach out to you and kind of shepherd you through the whole thing. So I think it's a good idea to call ahead. Other than that, just show up with an open mind And where it's I say most places is business casual, right? Wear something that you would wear to a church that you were visiting for the first time. No tank tops and flip flops, for example. You might see people there in tank tops and flip flops, but don't be that guy. But just be open to it. So I'll say call ahead and go with an open mind, and be prepared to feel a little bit lost. But that's okay. A lot of Jews are lost their first time going in, so that's quite all right. Kay Dixie says, if you're part of this rabbi's congregation, bring coconut cream pie. Okay. You never know. You never know when you might be bringing coconut cream pie to a meat meal. Let's see. Yeah, all right. We got some good stuff going on in the chat. It's Susan Bird. Just look at Pringles can. Not only is there a kosher symbol, but there are a couple of lines of Hebrew text too. I never noticed that before. All right, let's see. Where does this little guy go from here? I think that's it. I think I just had that power moon there. Nothing else going on over in this corner of Mario World. Okay, buzz off, dude. Okay. Okay, here now we're in familiar territory. Last time we were here, I can't even get on a beanstalk effectively. Last time we were here, we had just joined the beanstalk, or we just found the beanstalk. Now we're climbing up of it. Let's see. I think today we might just go an hour. I got a birthday coming up in my household, for which I'm gonna make a special dessert, and so I might knock off a little bit early today, so that I can go get the ingredients for this special dessert for a special person in my life. Let's see. I think we got the power moon out of here already. Oh, yeah, we got that already. What's that guy doing all alone over there? Check the map. Here's where we are. I guess we're trying to get to that place over there. Can I warp there? Just gonna warp to someplace closer. I can clearly see there's a place that I'm trying to get to. I'm pointed right at it. Path to the secret flower field. So we got a lot of good kashrut questions today. Oops. Let's see if I get up there. Is anything exciting going to happen? Oh, hey, look at that. I've already been there. I'm super close to the path to the secret flower field. I'm pointed right at it. Oh, hey. I passed him. There's another power moon. Okay, that's nice. I'm getting all the power moons, but I apparently can't find the path to the secret flower field. That doesn't look like a good way to go. It's quite explicitly a nut at the dead end. Alright, I'm gonna get some of these nuts in case they come in handy. Okay, can we use this to launch ourselves? I wonder. Alright, now I'm back there. I don't know if anybody has any good advice for Mario getting out of this morass. Alrighty, I don't need a seed. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Jew Curious Show. This is a place where people who are curious about Judaism can ask any question they like about Judaism, about Jewish people, Jewish traditions, Jewish wisdom, because I fully believe that the things that we can learn about in Judaism and being a part of the Jewish people or just learning with the Jewish people can be a path to a life of greater meaning, greater joy, greater human connection, and personal growth. And so I believe this is accessible to anybody anywhere, and that's why I go live on the internet and play video games while people... Whoa, hey, what's going on here? While people ask questions. Da, 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 da. What? Oh man, that's nice. Bunch of hidden coins. That's cool. Yep. Something tells me I'm going to never stop falling there. Okay. Alright, welcome to the Jew Curious Show, where rabbis stink at Mario Odyssey. I've seen these flowers before. And I'm back at the very beginning. Okay, I'm going to try something I haven't tried yet. Whoa! Oh, didn't quite make it. Whee! Alright, that was kind of helpful. Slightly. Oh, look at that! I'm where I haven't been before. That looks promising. Whoop! Whoa, no, they're tanks! Okay. Alrighty. Need to be at least one tank here. Oh, got one. Gonna lead it a little bit. So close. Got one. Alrighty. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Christy B. Hey, welcome, Christy B. from San Bernardino. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry if this was asked before already, but why round challah for Rosh Hashanah? Very good question. It's a custom that we have. There's a lot of circles involved in Judaism, and especially around Rosh Hashanah. We have round challah is our special holiday challah. Whereas you might normally have a long loaf of braided bread or something like that, we'll have round challah for Rosh Hashanah, and this has to do with sort of the circular nature or cyclical nature of Jewish time, where you're coming around to the beginning of the end of the old year, the beginning of a new year, and you're starting that year again, right? And then you go through a whole other cycle of holidays and things like that. So we have round challah on Rosh Hashanah to represent sort of the fullness of time. A circle also symbolizes sort of completeness. Just as soon as you get to the end of the path, you begin that path all over again. And I think this is symbolized by round challah. You will also find sweet challah. So round challah is a part of it, but you're likely to run into like round raisin challah. And so the raisins or other things are put in there to make the challah extra sweet. I know that my wife's own regular challah recipe is about 51% white sugar, so it's pretty sweet as it is, but then it's extra sweet on Rosh Hashanah, just like we say, L'Shana Tova Metuka, have a good and a sweet new year. So you'll find round sweet challah on Rosh Hashanah. Let's see, Kay Dixie says, heard today is National Book Day. Have you read this? The Promised Life. Oh, that's so nice. Kay Dixie is plugging my book. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, this is a book that I wrote and published last year. And if you can find it, there's a link to it on Twitch, actually. You can just Google that title or look it up on Amazon. You'll be able to find it right there. So, looks like we're about to get into a boss battle. Secret flower field entrance. All right, I think we're going down, y'all. Whee! So let's do this. We've got a boss battle coming on, and I think that we'll call it a day. Secret flower field. So boss battle, y'all, which means I might be a little bit distracted about questions for a second, but then we'll still be friends, I hope. So boss battle. Then I'll go hit Facebook and YouTube. Just a quick reminder. This is the last few days of our Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge giveaway. You can join the Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge anytime. Just go to RabbiJohnCarrier.com/fall, and you can get a link to how to enter this challenge. You put in your email address, and then for 31 days, you get a brand new video every single day about the fall holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, all the different symbols and traditions and greetings and foods and things like that. And if you do that this weekend, from today right up until Monday morning, you're entered into a giveaway for a Jewish starter library. So just go to RabbiJohnCarrier.com/fall, speaking of books, and then on Monday morning at 9 a.m.-ish, maybe after a few brief adieus, we will draw some names live on this show to see who's going to win that challenge. So with that, let's get into the boss battle, see what's up. I feel like my onion friend's going to be instrumental to this. I'm going to go bump into a meanie. Boosh! No, meanie, quit it. You thought he was mean before. Why do you start messing with his flower thievery? Very good. Flowers, flowers, flowers. Must have all the flowers. Is that really necessary, Flower Bot? He looks much less pleasant now. All right. I really should have done that. Okay, looks like there's some... He's anchored to these things in here. And I'm just going to get over here. Boosh! Oh, ruined that for you. Alaka-snoosh! Ruined that for you. One more thing to go, and... Ka-smoosh! Save that for later. Break the blocks around it. Okay, don't mind if I do. I hate to say this guy is kind of easy because I know it'll get harder as soon as I say that. Doop. Okay, that's 3 of them. Now he's just going to get mad about stuff. Oh, you're just going to sit there? Okay, maybe I'll just give you a little smoosh. Snoosh. Alright. What could possibly go wrong? Uh-oh. I'm guessing that could. Hey, wait a minute. Alrighty. Okay, where's that heart I really needed a second ago? Okay, I'm just gonna go over here. Now look at snoosh. Going up. Okay, there's one. Could use that help. Alright. Yep, see, that's what happens. You just when you think you're really good at this game, he makes it way harder. Bah! Where's that heart I needed earlier? Beating that robot jerk. Boosh! Okay. He'll probably give up now, I imagine. Or maybe there'll be another round of annoyances. Just like that. Alright. Alright. So I'm gonna get a lot of extra lives out of this one. Take it 1. A lot to spare here. Alaka-snoosh. Taking the 2. And the 3. And usually it's things happen in 3s. Whoosh! That's good boss battle. Got a multi-moon out of the deal. Not too shabby. Boosh! Oh! Whew. I got a multi-moon, defended the secret flower field. If you're just joining us, this is the Jew Curious Show, and we're having Fun Friday. This is a show we're on a couple of times a week, and I answer questions that people are asking live. And comment on what's going on in the chat as well. We got a lot of cool people hanging out in this community. Noah64 says, hey y'all, we are trying our Havurah again this weekend. Positive vibes and prayers, please. No one came last month. That's too bad. But, you know, sometimes you put together a program and it doesn't work, and then it doesn't work, and then it super duper does. And that's a good feeling. So positive vibes, prayers coming your way. 9164. A chavara is just a word for gathering, or maybe a Christian equivalent would be fellowship. Chavara is like people who get together for holidays, for meals, or just a nosh. Let's see, any news about the secret update from a few weeks ago? Mrs. Bob Ross, I love when people listen when I talk. A few weeks ago I was saying there was I was talking about my wife and I had our anniversary, and when we have our anniversary, we sit down and we kind of brainstorm and write out our goals for the coming year. And I'll say I shared 3 goals. One is that I would like to grow the Jew Curious School, and we've had a few new members join us since then. Another goal was that I would like to, look over there, I would like to run an ultra marathon. That's any running excursion longer than 26.2 miles. So I'm signed up for a marathon here in a few weeks, just for now. Your life is pretty crazy when you sign up for marathons in order to train for a longer race. So that's where I'm at. And then what's the other one? Oh, accelerated free fall. I want to do a little bit of skydiving, or quite a bit of skydiving as the case may be. And so for that goal, one of the let's say intermediary goals is I need to lose a ton of weight. So I think when I started this journey, I was about 285. It's probably my peak weight, 285, 289, something like that. I am now, as of this morning, below 275. So if any of my insurance adjusters are watching, please ignore that. But I'm down about 10 pounds, and I've got to get to 240 in order to jump out of an airplane. Apparently, that gas is not cheap, and you have to be 240 or below to take skydiving classes around LA and most of the places that I've found. And so that is progress. That's about 10 pounds of progress over the last 2-3 weeks toward that goal. The secret is also, I'll give you a hint, the secret also requires that I lose a significant amount of weight. But I'm not ready to talk about that just yet. But thank you for paying attention, and thank you for asking. So I'm 10 pounds down, so I'm closer to, it's going to make it easier to run a marathon. It'll give me more energy to help grow the school. It will make me get closer to, I had about 45 pounds to lose. Now I only have about 35 pounds to lose toward my goal of doing the thing of jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. And then there's the secret goal, which is probably going to knock some people's socks off. But it's like, even if I get to the weight, there are other things, other considerations that might preclude me from being successful there. So I'm going to keep that to myself until I'm a little bit more certain that it's going to happen. It's one of those things. Like, it's nice to tell people your goals, and then it helps you achieve them. But also, sometimes, when things don't work out, you don't want to be like, oh, I have this goal, and then there's something that happened that was out of my control. That I can't do that thing, and then it's just a big disappointment for everybody. So suspense. It's also good. It keeps people watching the show, right? There's a little bit of showmanship there. Keeps people watching the show when we don't know what's going to happen until the end of the season. So when I reach that goal, trust me, you guys will be about the 3rd person to know. Like, it'll be probably there's a person I have to get past to reach that goal, or like somebody says, okay, John, you reach your goal, and then I will tell my wife, and then I will tell you all. Let's see, are you 7.2 inches tall? You don't look heavy. So I dress well. I'll say it that way. I am 6'2", about 275. I've got a little bit of gut around the middle. I've also got pretty dense bones and a bit of musculature. My mom, so first off, I just have good genes. I was born in Texas and grown big over there. And my mom made us drink milk like 3 or 4 times a day. So pretty dense, as you might put it. Whoop, okay, now I'm on a flower path with mushrooms chasing me. It's like a bad dream. Wait, what the heck am I supposed to do here? Oh, fall in the dirt. Any word on the live streaming of the holiday services? Not just yet. There are, but Mrs. Bob Ross, thank you for saying I don't look heavy. Turns out I am, and that's why I only show my face. This isn't a full body live stream. But let's say I am on the last notch of my belt, though. That's going to be kind of difficult, like in the skinny direction. I'm gonna have to poke another. I've lost enough that I'm gonna have to poke another notch in my belt. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Dang it! Get out of my way, mushroom guy. Ooh, a little shorty shortcut through there. Oh, there's... Oh. Alright, now I see how this works. I'm supposed to stack all those guys up. Any word on the live streaming high holiday services? So we're working on that at my synagogue right now. We do have the gear in place, and the cantor, who's also kind of in charge of all of our AV tech, is going to be testing that starting this weekend. Oh, I got it! Hey y'all, hey! Elvel, the piano girl, Elvie is back. Noah 64 says shalom. So stay tuned for words on the live streaming high holiday services when it comes to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, which is where I very happily work. Teach, lead services sometimes. Okay. Can't see. That's not cool. What is that? That's like a straight vert. Remember that muscle weight's more than fat, so if you're lifting weights, it's misleading. Yeah, I did that. I'll tell you one fun thing I did. I'm glad you brought this up because it's one super dope fun thing that I did this week, and I'm going to go do again a little bit later this afternoon. I went to a boxing class. There's sort of a, and it's not like, you know, getting in the ring and learning how to beat somebody up. It's more like a, they'll say it's called Adam's Boxing Boot Camp, or Boot Camp Boxing. And so it's an hour of some pretty daunting calisthenics, let's say, and some, you know, throwing punches at a sandbag. I will say one of the best workouts I've gotten, you know, in a long time, if not ever. And whoop, ba-doop, 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 boop. All right, this level stinks. Let's see. So I did a boxing boot camp class the other day, and I will say that was like one of the best workouts I've ever had in an hour. Also, the best $20 I ever spent on therapy. So, you know, if you're having kind of a hard day, I was having kind of a hard day that day, or a hard week for various reasons, and I went and I did a bunch of jumping jacks and then put on some gloves and punched a heavy bag, and I felt fantastic. So I'll say, if anybody, you know, is having a hard day, if you have a boxing class close by, not that, you know, violence is the answer, but putting on some, you know, smushy gloves and punching a sandbag lets some of that aggression out. It can be a good thing. Try this a different way. Apparently I can't get out of here until I solve it. Can't catch me, sucker. Whoop. Now I think I know what I did wrong over there. I have to do a little Shaolin wall jump. Oh, there we go. That's how you Mario. Okay, here we go. Yep, ba-dum. Do. Okay, I'm in. Yo! Oh! it's the worst. Let's see. K Dixie says, I actually have my own boxing gloves, but it's still on my list to use them. So I'll say what's weird is, like, as soon as I went to that boxing class a couple days ago, my weight also plummeted, which was crazy, like several pounds. And I think, this is my working theory, I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so don't take any medical advice from me whatsoever. But I think also the boxing, you know, punch in a bag, in addition to just the exercise, but punch in a bag, my theory is that it releases testosterone, and testosterone tends to help you burn fat faster. So I think if you're getting aggro on a bag, not on people, don't be doing that. Don't be hitting somebody who doesn't need hitting. But that release of testosterone helps you burn calories faster, plus all the pretty heavy-duty calisthenic exercise that goes along with it. Okay, this is getting hard. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Boards is the man we call Mario. So, did some boxing, had some fun, burned off a pretty challenging week, and got closer to my goals of running an ultramarathon and jumping out of an airplane, and one more that is none of your business. No, I'm just kidding. It's totally your business, but I'm going to wait to tell you till it actually happens. Let's see. Someday could we have dueling rabbis on Twitch? That would be something. I know a couple of rabbis who would go along with that. We can make our way to the next kingdom now. So let's go to the next kingdom, and then we're going to call it a day. Dueling rabbis. I hope you mean on Mario and not on, like, boxing gloves. So, I can't think of any rabbis off the top of my head that I'd like to beat up. That's just, it's not very collegial. There might be one or two, but that's you know, I wouldn't do that. But no, it's if we could have some dueling Mario, or have some maybe play some Smash Brothers, that might be kind of cool. Again, I pick these family-friendly games because I don't like to advocate violence. It's not where kids can find it. But if we had, you know, a couple of rabbis just having fun playing Smash Brothers or racing Mario Kart, that could be kind of cool. So look into that. All right, so we have powered up. We're on our way to the next kingdom. We'll see what it is, and then we're going to call it a day here on the Jew Curious show. Before I do that, I'll take out my phone. Where are we going? We have enough power to make our way to the Metro Kingdom. That's a pretty cool one. So next time, we'll play this next week. So make sure, I'm just going to look up what's going on Facebook, see if I missed any questions there. And I'll say, doesn't look like I do. Let me turn that down so we don't have, let's see, check the questions on Facebook, no comments there. While I'm looking up YouTube, I'll say, highly recommend you check out our Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge. There's a link to that below this video if you're on Twitch, and or you can just go to Rabbi John Carrier, that's John with an H, Carrier, just like that big boat that carries airplanes, and go to rabbijohncarrier.com/fall. You go to a place that lets you put in your email address, and then you will automatically get 31 emails. That's a fresh, hot off the presses email every single day with a link to a new video about the Jewish fall holidays. And if you do that before Monday morning, it's going to be dope, because then you can get into a drawing for a starter Jewish library, and we're going to announce the winners of that on Monday morning. So let's see what's going on here. Got a couple people watching. Let's see if we have any things in the chat. Daniel Galato says, "Shalom everyone. Hope you have a wonderful Friday or Saturday morning from Perth, Australia." Very good. Daniel Martinez, we got this. Just started studying with the local Reform rabbi. Couldn't be happier. Did you have any concerns about anti-Semitism for you or your family? That is a complicated thing to answer at the very end of the show. So I'll say I didn't, but now I do, and I'm smiling when I say that, not out of acknowledgement, not out of mirth. But for many years when I was becoming Jewish and as a convert, anti-Semitism was largely an academic thing. It was something that I heard about in the history of the Jewish people, never experienced it personally. Then I did, right? And then I did. I had like a checker to, I was getting some kosher food at a supermarket, and I noticed like how expensive the kosher version of a certain food item was. And the checker said, well, they have all the money, and I've heard comments here and there until this past couple of years. And then stuff's just ramping up and people are getting more open about anti-Semitism in public. We're seeing violence committed with explicitly anti-Semitic motives. Just by every objective measure, hate crimes are up, and anti-Semitic hate crimes are up even disproportionately to that. So I do have concerns. How I deal with it, there's many different organizations that deal with this. ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, is kind of a watchdog about anti-Semitic things that are going on. I'm going to tell you my tactic. ADL's been working on this for a long time. How I fight anti-Semitism personally is to teach about Judaism positively to diverse audiences. So, in fact, what I'm doing right now is, I hope, fighting anti-Semitism, because there's actually plenty of anti-Semitic stuff on the internet. There's, I know this from the comments on my YouTube videos and some other videos I've seen. There's some terrible stuff on YouTube bashing the Jews. It's sort of like anti-Semitism is like the world's oldest conspiracy theory, and people keep falling for it because we make great scapegoats apparently for other people's problems. So what I do is I teach the truth about Judaism. I'm not saying the truth, but I teach what Judaism is really about, not what these crackpots say it's about. Whether it's fundamentalist Jewish crackpots or anti-Semitic crackpots who are attacking us. It's nope, we actually don't have horns. That was an old thing. I didn't even hear about that until I was in my 20s. There was a stereotype that Jews had horns and that we murdered people who weren't Jewish, and that all this terrible stuff about us. And I'm like, nope. We're just a religion and a people like other people are. And I love having groups over at my synagogue from churches and saying, hey, this is what our services look like. Hey, at the end of services, we have a thing with wine and bread. Does that look like anything you do at your services? So I feel like the more I teach about Judaism and how it really is as a lived experience, as a people who are your neighbors, who are care about the same things that you care about, the more people learn who we really are and how we really are, the safer the Jewish people become. That's my personal mission there. So I hope that's helpful for you. Yes, I do worry about it, and I worry about it now more than I worried about it a year ago, and certainly more than I worried about it 10 years ago. But I feel like the best I can do is be an integral part of my broader community so people know me. I've got Burbank police officers know who I am, and the people in city council know who I am. The more people know who I am and who my community is and how we contribute to the broader community, the safer we are. And so that's my particular way to do it. So it's wild on YouTube. Eat babies on YouTube. Jews eating babies. That's so year 1100. Seriously, is that original? That's what they used to say in the 1100s. So that's ridiculous. Ruthie's here. It's all good. I was asking because I could ask you a question over there if you could see. Ruthie's saying, Daniel, are you on Twitch? Yeah, I'm off and on. Silvissimus Chapara, Shabbat Shalom. Y'all, good to see you, Silvissimus. And with that, I'm going to call it a day. I've got to go get some secret ingredients for a secret surprise dessert I'm making for a special person in my life for that person's birthday. So with that, I'm gonna switch off the Twitch and say Vaya con Dios to Facebook and say Yalla to YouTube, and really appreciate everybody hanging out today. Always having fun with you on Fun Friday. We will see you on Monday for the winners of the Jewish Fall Holiday Challenge giveaway. If you're not in the challenge, rabbi.johncarey.com/fall. Get in the challenge. You'll learn a lot about the holidays. You might get some free books out of it, and you'll find out for sure on Monday here on the Jew Curious Show. Until then, heroes, peace.